Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner with me, Lydia, in my Crafty Corner. So today I'm going to be talking about something that's a little on trend at the minute, and this is floral globes. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of masking with some embossing powder, some opaque embossing powder, so it's going to be really fun and I hope that you love it. So I'm going to be using, to start with, the Vintage Roses from Altenew, and this is one of my favourites. It's such a beautiful set. And all I'm going to do is I am going to start in just stamping a little piece on my piece of cardboard using the flowers and the leaves. So I'm starting with the base images for both the rose and the leaves. So for the base of the rose I've used Frosty Pink, and for the base of the leaves I am using some Frayed leaf. So I'm just doing it in a bit that's going to make sure that I've got the whole globe covered. I do check it with a globe at the end, just to make sure that I have the whole piece covered, because anything that's over the edges I'm not going to worry about. I just want to make sure that everything within the circle that we're going to create the globe with is going to be covered with some beautiful flowers. So again, I have used the Frosty Pink for the base of the rose and the Frayed leaf for the leaves. So once I have done this base layer, I'm then going to move on to the second layers of both of the images. So I am using some coral berry for the rose. I've missed out the second layer for the rose because I wanted to keep my roses quite light. So I've just jumped to the third layer for this one. And this is coral berry that I'm using for this. And it's much easier to stamp the second layer when you're creating a background like this, because you already know where the flowers are going. So it does take a little less time than it does for the base. Then for the third layer on the roses, I am going to use some of the ruby red, and it is a beautiful red colour. I just love it. It's so pretty, and it's like its name suggests, it is ruby red. So I'm just using the fourth layer as my third layer to keep my roses nice and light and airy. I'm then going to stamp in the second layer for the leaves. Again, I'm keeping these quite light and airy. I'm not actually going to use the third layer on these. You can do if you want to, but I just wanted to keep them lighter. So for this second layer, I'm using the Forest Glades ink from Altenew. And then I'm going to be using this image here from Big World stamp set. So I'm just going to move it around on my little stamped bit to make sure that I have the roses on my land area exactly where I want them. So I'm then going to take some embossing ink and I'm just going to ink up this image. I'm using it Misty. You don't have to. You can definitely use just an acrylic block. Stamp it into place, and then I'm going to use some of this embossing powder. So this is the Caribbean Sky embossing powder from Altenew, and it's opaque, so you can stamp over the images and they are not going to show through. So this is going to be the water. I've used the water bit. So then I'm going to use the die from Big World stamp set, pop it over where the image is that we've just embossed, and cut it using my mini blossom machine. So as you can see, once I do take the piece out, you can see how pretty that little floral globe is. So we have all the flowers on the land, and we've stamped and embossed the water. For the stand for the globe, I wanted it to be nice and sparkly, so I've taken some gold glitter tape from Altenew again, and I'm just going to cover a little piece of card with it. So I'm creating my own glitter cardstock. You don't have to have glitter cardstock, so you could just use some washi tape instead and then just create the bits that you want. So none of it's going to go to waste really, because I am actually going to cut the sentiment out of this as well. So I'm just covering it where I need it to be. I know then I'm just popping it into place to see if I've got everywhere, but I haven't. I just needed a little bit more, so I've just ripped a little bit more and put it into position. And then it now fits on my little glittery cardstock that we've just created. To keep this in place, I'm just going to add a little bit of washi tape. Now, because I'm sticking onto some glittery paper, the washi tape won't stick so well, so you might need to just pop that down a little bit more so your die doesn't move around. It takes a little bit to adhere it to that glitter paper. I'm then again going to run it through my mini blossom. You can see that I cut my cardstock now to just under 3 inches, so I can in fact run it through my mini blossom really quickly and easily. I just love having this size paper or card on hand so it can fit through my machine beautifully. So you can see how cute and cool that looks. I just made up a new word, cute. So cute and cool at the same time. I'm then gonna add my world on. So this is from the Big World stamp set, and this is one of the sentiments in there, so you can cut out a sentiment word. And I've popped that through my mini blossom, and I've only used one little piece of cardstock on this card, which is really cool. So I've kind of just used it for all different occasions. I'm then going to pop my little globe stand into place, but I want to know where this is going to be, so I'm just taking a little pin and marking that bottom edge. So I haven't used a pen, so I don't have to rub out any lines. It's just a little tiny line with a pin just to get my guide in. I'm then going to use some artist markers. So this is Evening Grey and then Morning Frost, just to create a beautiful shadow underneath the stand. This is going to kind of ground the image, because otherwise it would be floating around on my card, and I didn't want that. I wanted it to be grounded, so that little shadow really works to ground the image on my card base. I'm just using some Altenew tape to adhere this down, and it works really well because it only sticks where I want it to. So, because it comes in little dots, so it just sticks to the card, which is really cool. I'm then going to add in my globe. I want this bit a little popped up, so I'm using some foam tape. So I've just cut this down, pop this on the back, and then this is going to pop into place. You could actually kind of shape this globe a little bit if you wanted to, but I find that it works just well, just nice and flat, but popped up a little just to give it a little bit of added dimension. For my sentiment, I want it to go across the globe, so I'm using some vellum and I'm going to emboss the sentiment onto it. So I'm using one of the sentiments from Big World stamp set. I've used some embossing ink to stamp it, and now I'm going to emboss it using some white ink. So once I've popped the powder on there, I'm then going to heat it with my heat tool to keep it into place, because we don't want that powder dropping off when we give the card to someone. So once that's done, I'm then going to add my world that we've done, the sparkly little world, and I'm using again my tape pen, because this only does add adhesive into the places you want it to do, so which is really good. And it's like I am a messy crafter, so the less mess that I make, the better. So I'm going to pop this into place on my piece of vellum, and I'm then going to add it to my card. With vellum, you don't want to add it where you're going to show the adhesive, because it is translucent. So I'm just going to add the adhesive to the bits that I'm going to fold over this card piece. So you can see I just folded it over the edge, so I know where the glue that needs to be on that side. And then I'm going to add it back into place over that world, and then fold that piece over with the adhesive. So that's going to keep it nicely in place, and you're not going to be able to see that adhesive at all on the card front. I'm then going to flip my card over, add a little bit more adhesive to this side, then flick this bit over and attach it into the inside, and then remove the excess. You could add a little panel to the back of this card if you wanted to, so you didn't want any of that to show. But that is my card complete. I really do hope you've enjoyed the video and that you do give this a go. It's such a lovely, beautiful card, and it is so on trend right now with the floral globes. And it's a great technique to use if you want to cover some things that you've already stamped with some opaque embossing powder. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you don't want to miss out on any videos that we do upload to the channel, it would be great if you do subscribe. So there are a couple more videos if you want to watch them, and if you do, I will see you again really soon. Bye bye.